Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Sunday, kinda early cast. Today we have a Div C West matchup of Lurk Patrol versus Plugwalk. How are you doing today, Jax Taxman?
I'm doing great. It's our first midday cast together. None of these night casts, bright and early, and any time of day is a good time of day to watch some HOTS. I'm excited for this matchup.
Yeah, today's a pretty big day for NGS. We have this match and two others, as well as the meat hall today to talk about some of the playoffs that are coming up. And speaking of playoffs, as we look to the standings for these teams, we see Plugwalk and Lurk Patrol really tightly together so far. Plugwalk in 5th place currently at 9 points, while Lurk Patrol is just 1 point behind there in 7th place. So these teams really fighting it out right now for those last playoff spots.
Yeah, and the other important thing to look at is that Lurk Patrol has played 5 matches while Plugwalk has played 6. And that means that they still have one extra game left on the table to catch up for that 1 point behind that they are. So these two teams are really, really tight right now, and it'll be really interesting to see how this one goes.
Now looking to the match at hand today, we saw in the map selection that Lurk Patrol won the coin toss and selected first pick, and elected to ban Track Pass. Meanwhile, Plugwalk banned Tomb of the Spider Queen and picked Sky Temple for our first game.
Yep, Sky Temple it is for game number 1. Sky Temple, very interesting map, a big map. Gonna be interesting to see. Probably gonna be more of a focus on a sort of macro comp, kind of out rotate because of the size of the map. Probably see a bigger priority on heroes with globals like a Dahaka or a Falstad. Although what's interesting is I'm looking at Plugwalk stats here. And it does not seem like they've picked either Dahaka or Falstad at any point in the past. It'd be interesting to see if those heroes are let through because they have Dahaka has not been played on the side of Lurk Patrol either, although they have played a few games of Falstad. Be interesting to see if those heroes might actually make it through despite their power on this map, just because neither team tends to play them. Asmodee being the first ban, he does have a good presence as well with his dunks being able to go across lanes, but and then of course Ana is so strong right now in the meta, it makes sense that you would see her banned out, but those are fairly standard, not super map specific yet.
Yeah, and I think Ana right now is at a position to where if you don't have first pick, it's almost kind of essential for you to ban her out, or you very much risk the first pick team picking her right off the bat. So pretty wise ban there on the side of Plugwalk to go along with Jaina. Burst, kind of a burst healer and a burst assassin.
Yeah, and Jaina very strong. The Kael'thas ban coming out from Lurk Patrol, uh, in part maybe just because it's so hard to see his spells here on Sky Temple, and you don't want to have to deal with that. But we'll see what they first pick here. A lot of strong heroes still open, and the Anub'arak it'll be. Anub'arak really good tank in the meta right now, but there are a lot of good tanks still open, like Diablo and Garrosh.
Yeah, I'm surprised no tanks were actually banned out in the ban phase. It's kind of been meta right now for teams to ban at least one, maybe even two in the ban phase, as we see Sonya Orphea being picked up by Plugwalk. So that leaves open a lot of very strong main tanks.
Yeah, and I'm thinking by looking at it, it's probably just I would think the Anub'arak first pick was just to make sure Plugwalk couldn't have it. Plugwalk has played 4 games of Anub'arak. Lurk Patrol has only played 1 in the past, although it has been banned against them 3 times, and they themselves have banned it 7 games. So I think that was more of they've been practicing it, and they also want to steal it away. Here's the Abathur, the other very strong map hero that I neglected to talk about earlier, that global presence to soak XP on such a big map. Let's see if it works out for him here.
Yeah, Abathur is so strong on this map that on the higher levels like Div A, Div S, what we see is that he's basically a first ban or first pick material. However, when you get into these lower divisions, he's normally not picked as often, so it should be interesting to see how much power and XP soak that they're going to be able to really maximize this Abathur pick.
Yeah, and I as they have not played Abathur yet in NGS this season, although they have also not played on Sky Temple yet, so those may be related. The healer bans coming out from Deckard and Alex Straza being banned. but that still leaves Tyrande open, for example. It leaves open Brightwing, as we see here, and ETC Brightwing, a very strong pickup on Sky Temple, with Brightwing having that TP, and ETC can opt into Stage Dive if he wants the global presence, although Mosh is still really strong. You don't necessarily have to go with it, but the two global heroes, maybe as a response of sorts to Abathur. But even after seeing Alex and Decker ban, we still see some strong healers on the board, like Tyrande and Malfurion. Malfurion Blaze it'll be, and I like those picks quite a bit.
Yeah, the only thing that's going to be a big focus on is can Gunny put enough damage to kind of make up for the fact that Abathur doesn't, although he puts out a ton of damage as a hat, he can't put out a whole assassin's worth of damage until you get to that level 10 with Ultimate Evolution. So it should be interesting to see if Gunny's able to get enough damage to get some resets going and really be able to punish on the side of Lurk Patrol.
And then the last pick, Kerrigan, coming out from Sky Temple. Yeah, I really agree with you, is that although I do like the lineup a lot from Lurk Patrol here, when you have two frontliners and an Abathur and a Malfurion, so you've got Abathur alongside a support, but you still pick up a tank and, well, I was gonna say and a bruiser, but I mean Blaze really can be a tank in his own right. With only the Li Ming on damage, you're just gonna have to be a poke comp, not really want to take many fights until maybe level 10. If you can get the Abathur clone, then you could use the Abathur clone to go in on the Li Ming and get that extra damage and have the power to really team fight. But for the most part, even though Blaze can put out some decent poke damage, and Nubrak can too, but he's more of a CC focused hero. If you're the side of Lurk Patrol here, you probably just want to play it a little slow, poke, don't engage. Whereas from the side of Plugwalk, you probably would look to find those fights because you have the Sonya, who's really a bruiser that puts out a lot of damage, and then two real full assassins in Kerrigan and Orphea.
Now as we get into game number 1, we're going to look on the side of Lurk Patrol. We will have Bickle on the Malfurion, Gunny on the Li Ming, Radic on the Anubarak. We'll have High Def on the Blaze and Ektar on the Abathur.
And in the red side, playing for Plugwalk, we will see Pharos on the ETC, Diesel on the Kerrigan, Criticalo on Sonya, Kagura on Brightwing, and 2 Jace on Orphea.
So we look at the level 1 talents, we see the increased shield for Abathur, showing that he is going more of a support build rather than like a push build. And then from then on, pretty standard picks. As we see that even though they had a Nubrak, they're not actually going to... Okay, Nubrak is solo trying to cheese this bottom tower, but he's not going to really be able to do too much damage on his own, even with Abahat.
Yeah, that was interesting. You do see often that cheese on the bot tower by sending Nubrak down, have him burrow in and use his beetles to tank tower shots, so the team can just focus on grinding down that wall straight away, get the structure lead and some XP lead. But sending a Nubrak to do it only himself and just giving him a hat doesn't really allow you to do a whole lot of push in that bot lane. He did get a little bit of damage on that tower, but it's not a whole lot, and now he's going to be locked into a brawl with Sonya here in the bot lane.
Exactly. Something interesting to note is that Brightwing did pick up Greater Polymorph here. So we'll be looking to get a lot of polymorphs likely onto these backline, especially Gunny and Bickle, with that additional range that Greater Polymorph provides.
It's true. If he can polymorph that Li Ming, then all of a sudden, most of the damage from the side of Lurk Patrol is just not available because Li Ming is such a strong spell-based hero, but that's the only damage they really have. And so if Brightwing can take her off the field, then it looks a whole lot better for Plugwalk, especially if they can engage during that time.
Yeah, now as we see Plugwalk picking up their siege camp here, just ahead of Lurk Patrol, now starting to pick that up with Gunny and with Abathur a hat here. We see that they have quite a bit of push here going in bot. Sonya's been pretty pressured out by the Nubrak with the Abathur hat, but now with that siege camp and Brightwing, Orphea, they should be able to do quite a bit of push in this bot lane.
Yep, it looks like they were looking for a bush gank for a second there. They gave up on it because leaving seemed to be aware of their plan, and they're kind of playing it passively here. Plugwalk is. and Lurk Patrol is just kind of poking him out, getting the camp cleared. Plugwalk's camp is very low, while Lurk Patrol's camp still has some good HP on it. Neither team is really fully committing to an engage, but Radic on the Anubrak is putting out a lot of poke through his CC abilities.
Yeah, something interesting to note is that they're not having Abathur actually just body solo a lane. They're putting one hero in each, which means that they have pretty strong presence in 2 out of 3 lanes, but that does leave this Malfurion having to solo a lane. And even though he occasionally does get an Abathur hat, it really hurts him in a 1v1 matchup against whoever Plugwalk decides to lane against him.
Yeah, that's true, and it is interesting because it gives a little less value to the Abathur pick in terms of his ability to grab extra soak. You will get that value here by sitting in the bot lane while nobody is there, but it does, like you said, give them a little extra lane presence in whatever lane they choose to send people to. But it's an interesting trade-off that they're choosing to take, because part of the value of Abathur is that you just allow Abathur to get that soak that other heroes couldn't get, like right now. Oh, hold on a minute.
Yeah, Diesel went in, caught out Malfurion, who got a good root on Kagura, but because that stepped up way too much, Diesel punished, as they were able to also collapse onto Anubrak there. And that means they're going to be able to pick up a lot of progress for both of these towers on the side of Plugwalk.
Oh, big fight in the top lane. The right wing will be forced to use TP. Criticallo on that Sonya was falling very low to High Def's Blaze. Blaze got a nice engage after Sonya was already very low for trying to take the tower. He's going back in for more.
Yeah, but now on the side of Plugwalk is rotating up here. Kagura taking a huge orb there, but Pharos is rotating in, gets the slide onto Gunny, who already used the TP, and now going in is 2J's, getting a lot of damage in, but Pharos taking a lot of punishment as the respawns have come on the side of Lurk Patrol, and forcing for Plugwalk to have to back up here after getting the burst, though, with that top shrine.
Yeah, and that was very a dangerous fight for both teams. Members from each side falling very low, but nobody falling in that direct confrontation in the top. Meanwhile, Abathur getting some good value in the bot lane, stayed there the whole time. There's a decent push setting up, empowered by these locusts that are spawning, and he's been able to get some soak that the members of Plugwalk were not able to get since they were in the top lane.
Exactly, and as we look at this hero damage, siege damage, see Sonya is actually the one putting out most of the hero and siege damage so far in this match. However, Abathur is getting a good amount of healing so far.
Yep, and we see Abathur now retreating behind his gate. Does not want to be found caught out in case anyone rotates down. Kerrigan's rotating down to the camp, but nobody coming down to see that Abathur. So I like the play by Abathur to be cautious and back up, and he now burrows. He will hang out in the top lane. Bad decision. Sonya finds him immediately. He burrowed a little too far up.
Yeah, I don't know why he burrowed that far up, especially with the camp pushing in and the Sonya right there. I think that might have been maybe a misclick there. Instead of pressing like for the hat on Blaze, he accidentally burrowed. And the one thing that I hate as an Abathur player is that you can't cancel that burrow once you press it. You get committed to it. So even if you accidentally mispress it, the game forces you to continue in.
Yeah, and now with this advantage, Plugwalk coming in, stealing the siege camp from Lurk Patrol side of the map, and they may look to catch out a Nubrak here.
However, he's able to burrow out just in time on the side of Plugwalk, just not having enough CC before Radic is able to burrow out there. And they are able to take this Bruiser camp in the top lane, so that's going to do a ton of damage, especially with Ektar sitting here with it. Looks like they're trying to catch out Criticallo, but not yet able to catch him on his rotation.
What's also of note here is that Lurk Patrol did not clear that siege camp that was stolen from them. So there's 2 siege camps and a temple pushing away at that bot fort. They're taking a lot of structure damage, and down level 10, they can't really engage right now. The best they can do is Abathur getting that split push going in the top lane as a counter, but now that they have 10 finally, this is when they could look to engage, but it's a little scary to walk into that bunker up on the bot temple, so it looks like they may just give it and back away.
Yeah, exactly. As we see ult picked up, it is notable to note that ETC did take Mosh there. We had Monstrosity, or excuse me, not Monstrosity. They're going to have a little bit more teamfight presence with Abathur actually taking that top fort there, with the clone being picked up for the Abathur. Other than that, pretty standard ults on the side of Lurk Patrol as well.
What is interesting is that Sonya picked up Leap for Plug Walk, and while there is a little bit of debate, I think a lot of the time you see people going with the Wrath of the Berserker for that extra team fight power. Oh my, big team fight, speaking of, in the mid lane.
Yeah, Baker with a giant ult there. However, Pharaoh slides in a beautiful interrupt there by Radic, as now we see High Def using his ult, but the Leap is able to delete him, as it looks like Plugwalk looking to try to follow up and get yet another kill onto Radic here. Pharaoh's getting the slide, not enough. Radic is just going to be able to burrow away, but not before two heroes fall on the side of Lurk Patrol.
Wow, and what an amazing interrupt on that Mosh. You saw it was coming out and it got out. He interrupted it right after it started, not during the initial animation, so it got put on its full 2-minute cooldown, not just the 10-second one. Although Pharaoh's still going in even without that Mosh, just trying to be a nuisance here against Lurk Patrol. I mean, Li Ming's the only one who can poke him out, so why not? But even despite the interrupt on the Mosh, still a very strong teamfight win for Plugwalk there. They lost to no one and they picked up multiple kills.
Yeah, however, because death timers are so low, they were kind of looking for boss, however decided against it, seeing that it was only about 15 seconds that the members of Lurk Patrol were down, especially because they did really try to look for that additional kill on the Radic, but weren't able to find it. So they're forced to just back up, try to get a little bit more soak, Sonya go in that top lane in order to contest Abathur. And thus they're about to hit 13 here right before the next temple phase.
And what's really impressive here for Plugwalk, in my opinion, is that they are going up against an Abathur and they're winning the soak war. And we will have a pause right here from, let's see, this pause coming out from our Abathur, so from the side of Lurk Patrol. Somebody heard a scream, apparently, probably outside. So while we wait on that, let's reflect on the game we've seen thus far.
Yeah, so far, the kills all coming out on the side of Plugwalk, as really the crucial thing is Lurk Patrol hasn't been able to finish off some kills. Really, their comp doesn't come online until 10, so they've only had the one fight that's kind of been where they want it to be, having those ults, being able to go in with that cocoon. However, Diesel's been putting a ton of damage in team fights, especially following up on the Kagura's Orphea, or 2J's Orphea there, who's putting out a ton of poke damage. So that combination's been able to finish off a lot of kills for Plugwalk so far.
Yeah, I've been really impressed by some of the plays made by Radic on the Anubarak. For example, he got the nice cocoon off on the Kerrigan to start the fight in the mid lane, and he interrupted ETC's Mosh Pit. I believe he was the one to interrupt it with his Q. But yet, it has not been enough. You have to wonder if they're going to regret picking only Li Ming as the damage dealer here, because even though you have that Abathur clone for the extra damage, it hasn't really worked for them too well. I know they've only had one real good fight, as you said, on their terms, but it's not anywhere near over, but 5-0 is not the start you like to see in kills, and they're losing in structures and they're losing in soak despite having an Abathur. And if you're losing in soak with an Abathur, that's where you start to get a little concerned, because that's supposed to be the strength of your comp, is that you're just going to beat them by out XPing them, and when you get that big lead, that's when you start to roll the game in your favor, and it has not been working out for them thus far.
Yeah, I think this upcoming fight is actually going to be the key turning point here. Seeing if Plugwalk does decide to go in onto the spot temple with 13 advantage, yet still being down to Sonya, this could present an opportunity for Lurk Patrol to use Abathur's ult and go in, looking to catch a 5v4 even down talents, and maybe catch up a little bit in the XP department.
Yeah, what's interesting to note here, just looking at the positions of the players, while we wait for this, wait for the unpause, we've got Anubarak up in pretty much in the center of the entire Plugwalk team, other than that Sonya who is on the mid temple, and Malfurion is a ways away with Gunny and Hidef as Li Ming and Blaze standing on the temple, and Anubarak just a little bit up outside of the temple, Malfurion is back near his own fort. And it looks like we are ready for the unpause. So we are going to be resuming the game here very shortly. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think there's a team fight ready to break out on the bot temple here.
As we resume the game here, we see Diesel going on to Radic, gets the stun, and multiple stuns, and they're able to stun lock down the Nubrak, so now they're going onto that Bickle. However, Diesel popping ult, not able to get it as a disengage called on the side of Lurk Patrol. So
Yep, and that was exactly what Plugwalk wanted to do, was find that pick on the Nubrak because he was out of position, and then after that, see if they could find another kill, but if they couldn't, just make sure they force Lurk Patrol to back up. That gives them control of both temples, which gives them a lot of structure pressure here.
exactly, as those are starting to shoot onto the keeps, and even though they do have Mule with Abathur, he's not going to be able to heal up all of the structure damage that is going down. As it looks like they're trying to catch out Sonya here, high def, but being used in order just to get away and prevent a bad fight. Now Diesel going in, trying to catch out as they do use Mosh here onto Bickle. Now Radic trying to burrow in for the interrupt, but himself getting caught here and forcing for Cocoon to be used on Kerrigan for the disengage.
That was a really nice combo, using that Mosh Pit and the Eternal Feast on top of each other, so that the Eternal Feast from Orphea got a lot of value because they just couldn't move. And Malfurion came in, and you could hear his Twilight Dream go off. I don't think he got it off. I believe it was interrupted. Yes, it's not on cooldown right now, which means it was only the 10-second cooldown interrupt. But he couldn't get it off in time, and then he ended up going down because he went so far up to try to stop that combo.
See, Lurk Patrol trying to stop the invade on the side of Plugwalk, but coming just not in time. So both teams kind of positioning, looking to see who might blink first. So Lurk Patrol does need to try to take a fight here. They do, trying to, with the burrow onto Pharos here, putting a lot of CC onto the ETC. However, Pharos just able to slide away now, and Kagura forced to use his ult in order for the disengage.
Yeah, but that's a nice Emerald Wind. They were in trouble there. They needed to get back out. This is the fight that Lurk Patrol needs to take. They're both on 13 talent tier right now. If they wait much longer, it'll be a 16 versus 13 fight, and that's never what you want to take. Nubrak is a little scary position here, but he'll be okay. But yeah, it's 16 is right around the corner for Plugwalk. If you're Lurk Patrol, you probably are looking for a fight right now. You'd really like that ultimate Evo to come in to help you, though, when you find that.
Plugwalk's actually looking for a fight of their own, looking for this invade a little bit early before 16 is picked up, as damage going a little bit onto Radic here. Pharos sharpened around. Along with Diesel, they get the slide onto high def, popping Kerrigan ult, and they are able to finish him off. However, a big ult by Malfurion, as able to get a lot of silence. However, the chomping Jaws is able to do enough in order to get the kill onto Blaze and Malfurion. Critical went in a little bit too far with the dual Li Mings putting a lot of damage out, but is able to get away.
Yeah, and so that's very interesting that they were looking to force the fight before 16, but what really made it a good fight for them was that they were able to pop it before Abathur was able to evolution in, because Abathur cloned right at the end of the fight, too late to make much of a difference, which meant they were fighting 5v4, and you take a 5v4 when you can find it, even if you're on even talent tier, which made it a huge win for Pluglock, gave them the level 16 talents, and now they have this camp pushing top that Lurk Patrol has to respond to, so Plugwalk can just take both temples here, because Plugwalk has that 16 advantage, and now they're going to get at least one keep off of this. Not two, but they will get good damage on that top keep.
Yeah, as the burst is actually going to put a lot, but Lurk Patrol going in, able to find out Kagura a little bit there, but is able to get away. But not before the burst is gotten on the side of Plugwalk there. So that top keep is very low with the pushing of those two camps, as you noted, and with the two temples pretty much all captured.
Yep, it is at 2,700 health out of a maximum of its 17,000 health. Although that is now going up, it does have a mule on it, but it's still dangerous. Watch out, speaking of dangerous, this fight is very dangerous for Lurk Patrol.
Yeah, Gunny just got absolutely chained CC'd there with the leap and the slide by Pharos. And with how low HP Li Ming has, especially after taking Glass Cannon, that allows for Plugwalk to look for boss now.
Yep. boss will be pretty impactful. And the thing is, for Lurk Patrol, if they'd like to interrupt this, even if they get Li Ming up before the boss ends, the travel time and being down 16 means there's not anything they can do. Radic was trying to harass, but he's getting harassed more than he's able to harass. The boss will go over to Plugwog without much issue, and it looks like they're going to steal the siege camp as well. Going to get a lot of push going here in the bot lane.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things with Li Ming, with a solo assassin Li Ming, with an Abathur comp, is you kind of have to take Glass Cannon just to make up for you being the only true assassin on the team. But that allows for you to get Chain CC and pretty well delete, especially with Kerrigan on the side of Plugwalk. So this boss is starting to push in here now. The Tornado pushing away, High Def looking for the stun on to Criticalo here. It's a lot of damage going out onto this keep. However, Cocoon is popped. A big slide in there. Malfurion ult popped. Big silence in onto 2. And there is the dance able to go down on Pharaohs with the Orphea ult. A ton of damage going out as the kill goes on to Malfurion and Anubrak there. And on the backside, Diesel looking for Gunny. A slide goes out onto the Blaze, who is deleted. And then there goes Li Ming, as now the tension turns onto core for Plugwalk.
Yeah, and that should be it. GG's coming out in chat because they think this is over. I do too, and the core will fall. A well-played game won by Plugwalk. Out soaking the Abathur. A 3-level XP advantage at the end of the game. Wow, very well played. 15 kills to 0 in favor of Plugwalk, your final score, and they just really got it done on that map.
Yeah, something to mention there is that you see the 0 deaths. The problem is that there wasn't able for Lurk Patrol to be able to get a team fight that they could win realistically with all their ults, even after they were able to get ult advantage. So
and what you see, looking at the stats right now, Li Ming had 42,000 hero damage, which is the highest in the game by far. The second highest being 27,000 from the Orphea, but it didn't result in any kills. That was the problem, is all of their damage was coming through poke, which meant that they had nothing to finish off any of those kills when Li Ming was getting some skill shots in and dropping those heroes low from the side of Plugwalk. Plugwalk could just back up a little, play a little more careful, take some healing from Brightwing, and then just re-engage, and they were finding the kills. No kills found by Lurk Patrol. They dropped people fairly low, but they just could not finish anybody off in that game. So we are waiting on game 2 to see what will happen. Another interesting stat to note is that the healing from the side of Lurk Patrol was very low. Abathur had actually the top healing on their team with 8,400, where Malfurion had 8,200. So both the top 2 healers that were both healing were under 8,500 healing from the side of Lurk Patrol, while Plugwalk Brightwing had 54,000 healing, and ETC had 31,000 of his own. A lot of that being self-heal, but because at level 1 he took the prog rock talent, he was able to do some healing to his team as well. So it's interesting to look at those numbers and see ETC almost doubled the combined healing of the Abathur and Malfurion. And here we go, looking for game number 2. We will be on Infernal Shrines. Lurk Patrol taking the first pick, I believe.
Actually, Lurk Patrol picked map with shrines on this one.
Okay, so Lurk Patrol taking the map pick and taking us to Infernal Shrines. Even running the Abathur, they were not able to get the experience lead against Pluglock in that last game, so they're going to try to switch it up here and go to Infernal Shrines, which is a much more straightforward team fighting style map. And I think I would say that I like this decision for them, because if you have the Abathur on your team and you still are getting beaten in the XP race, then I think it's probably time to change some things up. And also, I'm thinking we're probably going to see a different composition here from Lurk Patrol. I mean, especially not running the Abathur, but you would probably expect to see at least 2 assassins from their side after seeing what happened when they only ran 1 assassin in the previous game.
Yeah, I mean that's the trade-off you do with Abathur comps, and that's like, do you go with an offlaner who's more assassin like Thrall? Do you go for not having support and just doing a solo support Abathur comp, or do you go with a single assassin and kind of sacrifice some damage even with having a beefier front line? That you just have to deal with an Abathur.
Yep. And like you said, it is that trade-off, and you can make it work under the right circumstances, but quite clearly that last game were not the correct circumstances for Lurk Patrol, and they absolutely were for Plug Walk. Plug Walk took everything that they wanted and more, and ended up with a very strong win in that first game. So we're looking back to the standings. Lurk Patrol is currently in 7th with Plugwalk sitting in 5th. Neither team, sorry, Plugwalk, if they win, would stay in 5th place, although they are currently tied in points with Paraloot. They would move to sole possession of the 5th place. Lurk Patrol, with a win, could move themselves up into, I believe it would be just a tie with Plugwalk. They would not get the domination points. They would have to come back and make this a 2-1. So that would tie them at 5th place with Plugwalk. So this is pretty important for them for seeding. They would like to move up to that 5th place, but it's going to be a little longer road for them. They'll have to win 2 in a row if they want to accomplish that. Whereas now Plugwalk has the strong 1-game advantage here, and they're looking to roll that into a 2-0.
Yeah, as we start to kind of set up lobby number 2 here, what do you think needs to happen for Lurk Patrol to take game number 2 here?
For Lurk Patrol, I think it's really about finding ways to secure kills. I think it was in part target selection. You saw there were plenty of times, especially right at the end in that last defense, in that last team fight, you saw members of Plugwalk falling so low. I think everyone on the team was below half health at some point, but they just could not secure any of those kills. And on the flip side, Plugwalk was putting out really about the same amount of damage, lower in terms of some of those numbers. Ming was popping off, but Plugwalk did a great job of putting all of the damage in the same place and finding ways to secure those important kills that allowed them to take advantage, set themselves up in a 5v4, 5v3, and really just control the map and snowball that into a win. So really, finding ways to secure those kills is what will make the difference. Lurk Patrol just needs to find ways to finish off the opponents here, get those health bars to 0 and not just 1. Looks like our teams are about ready. We have both teams prepared for our game number 2 on Infernal Shrines. And this will be very interesting to see how our bans turn out. I would expect to likely see an Ana ban coming in again. Asmodan is not too outlandish. We saw the Jaina, which I think Jaina is probably a little lower priority, but she is still very strong, so we may see it again. And Kel'Thas, I'm not sure. Maybe. But Gul'dan, very strong pick here. Alex Straza, very strong. We saw her banned in the second ban wave. Be interesting to see if she maybe gets banned earlier or if they try to pick her at first. I don't know. There's a lot of things that could go on here. One thing that I feel fairly confident in is that we will not see another Abathur from Lurk Patrol here.
Exactly, as we get into game number 1 with the Kel'Thas band on the side of Lurk Patrol.
Yep, so they will stick with that Kel'Thas ban. Asmodan now being banned by Plugwalk. Last game it was banned by Lurk Patrol. So that's interesting. We are going to Gonna see what the second ban is here. Oh. First pick was assigned to the wrong team. So we are going to have to restart the draft real quick. But we will Alright, we will be back in just a second as Lurk Patrol picked the map. So they should not also get the first pick. Plug Walk not feeling that generous today. It'll be interesting to see if those bans were intentional and were what they wanted to ban, or if those were just a quick little, oh, this is wrong. We're just gonna restart the lobby. Looks like our teams are ready to go.
It looks like a lot of the same bands are going to be coming out on both sides. Anyways.
Okay, same bans.
With that Asmodan and Kael'thas banned out.
Yep. I believe our teams are just about ready, but we should see the Asmodan Kael'thas being banned. It was interesting to see that Plugwalk was banning Asmodan after Lurk Patrol banned it in the previous game.
I mean, both of those are very strong heroes, again, on Infernal Shrine, so it makes sense to ban them on here, same as on Sky Temple. If you especially don't want to go against them on one of the weaker maps on Sky Temple, definitely ban them out on Infernal Shrines.
So it's interesting looking here at our Heroes Profile stats. Thank you, Heroes Profile. We appreciate your NGS stats. From the side of Lurk Patrol, they have only played Asmodan once. They have, and if they have banned him, it's not frequently enough to appear on the most banned heroes. From the side of Plug, but they have banned him 4 times, so they clearly do not like playing against Asmodan. It's interesting to see. So it's really more interesting to see that Lurk Patrol was the team that banned him in the first game, considering that Plugwalk seems to ban him and not play him. I don't know if perhaps they saw something in the match history of one of the players to suggest that they were getting ready to pull out the Asmodan just as a surprise pick, but it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Beyond those first bans, which, as you said, are 2 heroes that are good on this map and were already clearly feared enough by these teams to be banned in the first game.
Exactly now, as we'll probably have the first 2 bans be pretty rapid fire, if not all 4, if the teams decide to go with the same bans as last game here. With Plugwalk, with that first ban, let's see what they, again, go with that Asmodan, and I expect to see Lurk Patrol go for Kael'thas first ban.
Yep, so there they are. Strong heroes on this map. Probably comfort picks for some of these players. And Plugwalk, in fact, has played Kael'thas in 6 games, winning 4 of them. So that would be where the fear is coming from. Ana being banned again. And you know what that says to me? Beyond just Ana is a good hero and we want to ban her. But they have first pick, so they could have picked Ana if they wanted. But what that says to me is they may be looking to play an Alexstrasza here, because Ana is such a strong counter to her, and the Nubarak ban coming out from Lurk Patrol, I would not be too surprised to see a early Alexstrasza being picked up here. I don't know if it's not a first pick, because Sonya is coming out, but I would not be surprised to see it in the 2-3 from Plugwalk, maybe even the 1-2 from Lurk Patrol, depending on how highly they prioritize it.
Yeah, the thing is, though, is Ana is so strong on herself, she does warrant a ban, although I'm surprised that they did ban her so early, or did ban her even though they had the first pick. Shouldn't that maybe they don't want to be playing Ana in these games, as Lurk Patrol going with Falstad Jaina?
Yep, Falstad Jaina, it's kind of interesting. I might have liked to see that Falstad in the last game on Sky Temple. Not that Falstad is bad, but he really gets that extra value on the huge maps like Sky Temple. Infernal Shrines is not small, but it is not as big as Sky Temple. Orphea coming back out for 2J, he really liked that. Orphea wants to play it again. Let's see, we get the Diablo. Diablo very strong, and I like the pick a lot here. Does mean Alex Straza gets let through to the second ban phase.
Yeah, Diablo especially strong on this map, able to control the rotations between mid and bot pretty well, and there's a ton of walls around the objective, so able to really control that area as well in order to really be able to start to control the map early as a main tank.
The Stukov and the Deckard bans coming out. So still Alex Straza available. She was banned in that second ban wave in the first game. So that means, I mean, I know I've been trying to call on Alex Straza the whole draft, and so now I just look crazy, but if they didn't ban it in the second ban phase, they did in the first game, and they have the picks right here, maybe you'll see it here, but maybe you won't. Maybe they're just going to make me continue to look like a fool. It's the Malfurion again and the Leoric. I'm a little curious to know why they banned Stukov here, honestly.
It could just be that Plugwalk doesn't, or is generally a Stukov team. Although I would have liked to see Stukov plus the Orc, a very strong combo is finally that Alex Straza does come out that you've been calling all game. But I agree that Malfurion is kind of an interesting choice, given the available healers.
Here are your statistics. Sponsored by Heroes Profile, not sponsored, provided by Heroes Profile. In this season of NGS, Lurk Patrol, 0 Stukov picks. Plugwalk, 4 Stukov picks. So that would be your reasoning for that ban rather than the pick with the Leo. Johanna, our last pick. I like Johanna. Johanna's a very good tank. You could have picked Garrosh to go with the Malfurion. That would have also been a good pick, but that's fine. If you're comfortable on Johanna, Johanna is quite good. What's interesting is to see these roles being played by Lurk Patrol. Bickle played Malfurion last game, if I'm not mistaken. Gunny was playing the Li Ming. Hidef was playing Blaze, so Falstad is probably more of an assassin in this comp since they have Leoric for the offlane, played by Radic, who was on a Nubarak last game, which means Ektar was their Abathur player, and he is now playing Malfurion. So this is very interesting by Lurk Patrol, swapping up all of their roles here.
Now as we get into game number 1, we see on the side of Lurk Patrol, we'll have Ektar on the Malfurion, Gunny on the Johanna, Hidef on the Falstad, Bickle on the Jaina, and on Leo Radic.
And on the red side for Plugwalk, trying to take home this 2-0, we see Pharaohs playing Diablo, Criticalo on Sonya, Diesel on Hanzo, 2Jace on Orphea, and Kagura on Alex Straza. Here we go, Infernal Shrines, game number 2.
As the gates open here, we'll have both teams running it down mid to start the game here. We do have Hanzo going for the Q quest instead of the W, and Alex Straza going for the Globe quest there. Interesting pickups there. Well, we will have the Globe quest onto Jaina as well, so we should see these teams really contesting these Globes early on.
Yep, it's always fun to see a good old-fashioned Globe fight. Both teams looking for those Globes. Do see Leoric and Sonya peeling off to the top lane right away, which makes sense. That's the standard, your standard solo laners just hanging out, having a good time. And we see the 4-man rotation coming out from both teams, although right now Hanzo is the only one that was making that rotate to bot from the side of Plugwalk. Got pressured a little bit, but he's doing fine. And it looks like right now Lurk Patrol is ahead in rotations in that 4-man. They have a lot of good wave clear by having that Johanna Jaina comp, which is a very good wave clear duo.
Yeah, it's a comp that's known especially for being played on Tomb, as there are the smaller wave rotations that you have the 4-man going in between, but also works here on Infernal Shrines with the slow distance in between mid and bot, and so they're able to take this early camp for the mid lane here.
I'm interested to see if they try to roll that into a bot camp tank. They will go there now. When you take that mid camp so much earlier than your opponents, you have the freedom to do pretty much whatever you want now, because they do pick up that bot camp because they had such a huge wave clear advantage. They'll give up a little bit of the advantage here, but gets them a whole lot more pressure in the bot lane by having that camp. While the camps are dueling mid, there's only one in the bot lane. Well, meanwhile, Gunny getting pressured on the rotate will make it out, but took a little bit of damage. Gunny's playing Johanna. Johanna is a big girl. She'll be fine. She's got a large health bar, but always something to be careful of. Level 4s coming out from both teams. Nothing that super catches my eye as being out of the ordinary. Hanzo continuing into that Q build. Alex Straza continuing into that circle build.
Exactly, as we see Lurk Patrol taking the Shaman camp right before the objective notification here. And in order to get to push here, as we see Gunny actually going in onto Diesel and Kagura in this middle lane, but without the damage really to support with them taking that camp, just a little bit of harassment mainly.
Yep, and that's a good take. Looks like Plugwalk will not get their camp at all, so that's going to get some good value in the top lane here for Lurk Patrol, unless somebody goes up to clear it. It looks like they're going to have a big rotate up. Radek's going to have to back up here. He needs to be careful. Diablo right on him. He'll be fine, but that will give Lurk Patrol a whole lot of free shrine clear. They're going to get a nice lead going on these skeletal defenders, while Plugwalk is all in the top lane, now starting to rotate down. Leo may be looking to harass. Looks like he will just back up towards the point.
Yeah, as we see, surprisingly, Malfurion getting the Treant here at level 4. I'd like to see him actually take the reduced healing so that he could kind of punish these healing circles here, as Dragon Queen actually being popped now, as we see Plugwalk going onto the point. A lot of damage going out onto Gunny there, but able to back up successfully as they try to wait out the timer here for the Dragon Queen. Now with Radek rotating down, they're looking for the engage. Gunny going in, getting a lot, but taking a ton of damage for that engage there. But the damage going out enough so that Bickle able to get 2 with the Jaina as they continue to follow up Radek looking for Criticalo, but with how low he is not able to pursue any further, as the first Punisher will be going for the side of Lurk Patrol.
Yeah, and you saw the strength of the Dragon Queen there, getting Plugwalk a free, like, about 10 skeletal defenders, but it can't do it all, and they were already down by a huge number of defenders, and then that engage by Lurk Patrol was a huge fight win. They were able to burst everybody down. I mean, you saw there were 3 people standing in a circle, and 2 of them got killed before the circle could even pop. And so, really well done by Lurk Patrol. They've got 2 kills now, which is 2 more than the entirety of last game.
Now they're trying to follow up the Punisher charge onto Pharos, but just don't have enough damage to really follow it up, even with the Malfurion route. But that will allow for them to take this bot fort here with the first Punisher, which is very strong, with that generally weaker first Punisher.
Yeah, the first Punisher, is obviously the weakest one. It gets stronger as the game goes on. And it was even a frozen Punisher, which is not the strongest. You'd like to have that Arcane Punisher for the most push, and they still managed to get the entire bot for it. That was a really nice push by Lurk Patrol. They look way stronger in the early game here than they did last game. I really like this showing by them.
But we have the Bush King here onto Gunny, trying to get out there with the Unstoppable, and will be able to with the peeling route by Ektar. And this will allow for Plugwalk to take their camp.
High Def looking very low in the top lane as Falstad. He will have to back Leoric taking his place. And what's interesting is that they did send the Falstad top, and Leoric stayed to push. I mean, it's because of the global, or the pseudo-global that Falstad has. He was able to fly to the top lane from the bot lane, so he could get there far faster than Leo could. But it did mean they had a whole lot less damage on that push, as you were saying, when they were trying to follow up on the Punisher lead onto Pharos on that Diablo. They maybe could have secured the kill had they had another assassin there in Falstad, but because they had Leoric instead, they were unable to find it. But still a smart play, because it was a faster rotate, allowed them to keep soaking that XP. They have almost a full level lead as they build towards 10. And if they can get the 10 advantage here, that'd be really big for them.
Exactly, as we see both teams rotating down as they're looking for their level 10 ultimates. Plugwalk deciding to go and pick up their camp here before level 10 is picked up on the side of Lurk Patrol, so they can't invade that. As Lurk Patrol just now picking up level 10, we see Ring of Frost being picked up there instead of Water Elemental, and other than that, pretty standard pickups on the side of Lurk Patrol.
We have the Mighty Gust coming in from Falstad. I think that's a good pick. Gust is always such a powerful playmaking tool. While the Hinterland Blast does get you some nice damage, and that especially at a range, Gust is such a powerful playmaking tool that I think that is the right pickup here. And Twilight Dream coming out from Malfurion, he went with it last game and it got him some decent value. I like that they're going back into it. Now we get the ults coming out from the side of Plugwalk. Orphea will take Crushing Jaws this time rather than Eternal Feast. There's no Mosh to help her follow up like there was last game, so I think that makes sense. It's a good pick for that extra CC. But Dragon's Arrow from Hanzo, pretty standard. Sonya going back into Leap. Cleansing Flame from Alexstrasza makes sense. The Lightning Breath from Diablo, because you just want that additional damage. So Diablo's ult picks are good, and I think Lightning Breath is perfectly fine for this comp.
It's gonna come down to the initial ults of these fights here, with Lurk Patrol having some strong starter ults, as I like to call them, like Ring of Frost and Malfurion Silence there with Twilight Dream, where if they're able to land them, they should be able to just easily win a fight. But if not, the re-engage ults on Plugwalk is going to provide a lot of CC here, as we see a big Jaws into Leap combo with the Diablo Dragon's Breath is going to be enough in order to burn down Malfurion, and Maggie Bick will be very low here. Now the healing coming out from the Alexstrasza ult is going to be able to keep Plugwalk alive and be able to get the kill onto Radic there, as they're able to take this objective now, getting a 20 minion advantage.
Yeah, that was a really nice cleansing flame by Alexstrasza to help keep the team alive and just do a little extra poke damage to force Lurk Patrol to back up. Kagura, very nice job on that. Also some really strong ults. I thought Orphea's Crushing Draws wasn't going to get a lot of value, but it ended up being quite nice. And you saw Leo used Entomb and got nothing. That'll allow them to take that Punisher without even having to pop Dragon Queen. This is an Arcane Punisher, so they could get some good push here themselves. The leap does go out, doesn't get a lot. The Siege Camp picked up by the side of Lurk Patrol is going to help them get some clear. So, maybe not as much as you might have hoped. Maybe not as much as that whole entire forward push the Plugwalk originally got. But, still, always better to have it than not. Gunny steps way up.
Oh, a huge Ring of Frost there, forcing the Dragon Queen to be popped by Kagura, but is not able to save the Sonya as the healing now trying to get out, but a lot of damage being put onto the backline of Lurk Patrol, not allowing for them to re-engage along with that Ring of Frost. And already down a member, that forces for both teams just to disengage.
Yeah, and so the strength of them being able to clear the shrine without using Dragon Queen is that they were able to pop the Dragon Queen there, and even though it wasn't able to save the Sonya, really, I think the Dragon Queen would stop the bleeding. They might have had an additional death if they didn't have it.
Their Pharos might have been caught there. A lot of CC going out onto them, and Alexstrasza Cleansing Flame not able to do enough healing. He does have souls, but that will be a large team fight loss for them on the upcoming shrine fight if he's not able to get a ton of souls before then. As we also see the spot camp doing a lot of damage, being able to push up onto this wall, and Diesel being forced to clear on low health.
Yeah, that just went from bad to worse for Plugwalk. When you lose the Sonya, even after using the Dragon Queen, it's bad, but when you lose the Diablo popping your Alexstrasza Cleansing Flame, that's worse. You've used now both the Dragon Queen and the ult from Alexstrasza, and each time you were unable to save the life of one of your members. Watch out.
Yeah, Pharos again caught by the CC of Lurk Patrol. Sonya forced to use the leap out in order just to get out of that entomb there. As now Lurk Patrol takes the fort and is even starting to threaten to keep wall here as they go rotate down into that bot lane.
Yeah, and that's crazy. Like, they just keep finding those picks. Plugwalk needs to be very careful here because they've just 3 times in a row now, one member has been stepped up too far and just been caught out and bursted down. This is what you would have liked to see last game from Lurk Patrol. This is so much better. They're finding those targets, they're bursting them down, and they're finishing them off. 5 kills to 2. It's not a huge lead, but it's certainly much better than it was last game, and they have a level and a little bit more XP advantage. They'll be hitting level 16 first, so right now you just make sure you don't get picked. Find the pick if you see it, but once you get 16, you really have control of the game for almost a full level at this point.
Yeah, Gunny and Ektar on those Johanna Malfurion have had good synergy in order to get basically 2 straight Blessed Shields in their roots in order to burn down Pharaohs and then reset his souls and then get the kill on him with Lil Souls. So look to see that in the upcoming fights if they're able to catch out members of Plugwalk again in these upcoming fights. As we see Plugwalk rotating up, seeing if they can catch out High Def here, actually going for the invade onto the Shaman camp of Lurk Patrol.
Yeah. Oh, High Def, that was very dangerous. Just walked straight through the bush without even checking it. He's forced to use Gust. Doesn't get a whole lot of value. He's in trouble here.
Yeah, as the Crushing Just plus Leap able to catch up to him and finish him off. However, Lurk Patrol is actually looking to go in here. Ryak now backing up a little bit. Bako trying to put a lot of damage onto that Diablo, but he just pops his Lightning Breath, able to burn down Biko into low health. A huge entomb there by Radic, but the damage is separated or dead on the side of Lurk Patrol, so not able to follow up on it. As we see Plugwalk now just being able to take this Shaman camp, but not before using Alexstrasza's Cleansing Flame.
Yeah, what I might have liked to see here on the side of Lurk Patrol, when they saw that invade, back up, give it to him, and run at the shrine, because the shrine is active and untouched down in the bot lane. Now Plugwalk is going to have a free start on it, and they should get some good skeletal defenders, because from Lurk Patrol, there's that Shaman camp in the top lane that you have to either deal with or just accept the fact that it's going to do quite a bit of damage to keep wall, because it's not even going to fort.
Not only that, but now Lurk Patrol has 16 once they get all their members to collapse onto the shrine. So even though Alexstrasza does have that dragon form still, they might be able to force a fight here before Plugwalk takes it, but they instead elect not to, just to instead position for the upcoming defense.
Yeah, Leoric was so far away, and they didn't want to take a 4v5 fight, that I get why they didn't engage, but it really does feel bad to have that 16 advantage and watch it just be slowly slipping through your fingers and not even get to contest that shrine. Although they are able to burst this Punisher down without much issue, Plugwalk having to back up. They're now both teams on 16 talent tier. This game's getting pretty close.
As we see Leoric getting caught out a little bit there. Crushing Jaws used onto him, and the Chomp is able to do enough damage. However, Ring of Frost goes out, not able to catch up. Twilight Dream, though, is able to get 3 there. A lot of members low on the side of Plugwalk as Alexstrasza goes down in that dragon form even, as the fight is kind of breaking up here a little bit. Pharos looking for Ektar, but he's able to get away. Diesel looking to do a little bit more Q damage there, but not able to finish off any kills, as it is a 2-for-1 trade in the favor of Plugwalk.
Yeah, and what happened there for Radic on Leoric is they forced him to use that Wraith Walk to get out of trouble being Diablo stunned, but when he came out of it, oh, nice and two, they will finish 2 members, not all 3, but the fact that his unstoppable finished, he was right in the middle of the Crushing Jaws, was a fantastic play by Plugwalk, but then they got a little too greedy at low health after that fight. Trying to invade that camp when Leoric was coming back up meant that they were taking a bad fight, and they paid dearly for it, losing 2 members.
Yeah, they were too focused on Gunny, who was coming in a little low, but had that Iron Skin, so he's able to survive through it. And then they did not see when on the backside Leo was able to respawn right on their backline and get a nice entomb there in order to get 2 kills. And so they, on the side of Lurk Patrol, are going to be able to now invade the Bruiser camp of Plugwalk.
Yeah, and really, Plugwalk, you're just happy that you didn't lose Hanzo too. The fact you only lost 2 instead of 3 on that invade is the best bright side you can come up with, and that's just kind of sad. It was a really bad invade for them. They'll lose a fort off the strength of that now, and they're down really a level and a half here. They honestly have to fight probably at the next shrine, assuming it's up fairly soon, but this is getting dangerous because if they go down 20 at this point in the game, they're probably just out of it unless they get a miracle defense.
And Plugwalk knows this. Pharos is looking for a charge, gets a charge onto Ektar, but not able to get the follow-up lead. Ektar whiffs this Twilight Dream, but not before Diablo able to pop his Lightning Breath, as Malfurion does eventually goes down to the critical leap, and they're able to get Johanna as well. Looks like Entomb not able to get much as the attention turns onto Leoric, but he will be able to get away. A nice engage there by Plugwalk right when they needed to get it before 20 picked up by Lurk Patrol.
Yep, that's exactly what they needed. Find the fight, take the fight, win the fight. Finding 2 picks, and now the shrine will be up right just before those 2 members respawn. But when you consider consider travel time in the equation, and they'll have time to set up. They can also take this camp to put some pressure on mid lane after taking that fort. Also, if they find Leo, this could be dangerous for Lurk here.
Yeah, as he's going to use his Wraithwalk to try to get away here. And it looks like he will get just enough distance here, especially with Sonya not having her leap up. But it will allow for Bruiser Camp to be picked up on the side of Pluglock here with the invasion. Barrow's actually looking for Radic there. Gets a lot of damage onto Leo, but he is able to Wraithwalk away. As now the attention for Pluglock turns onto this shrine right before Lurk Patrol is able to get 20.
Yeah, and what is important is that forced Lurk to back. So Radic will not be here at the moment, so they cannot engage. Honestly, if I'm Lurk Patrol, this Punisher is just sieging down a fort, so if you don't find a good engage, you could just back up, wait for 20, and then engage with 20.
Exactly, but Gunny wants to fight right now. Gets a nice pull, but Pharaoh's turning attention onto the Ektar there. Gets rooted, but has enough souls to survive through it. Now a lot of healing being put out by that Alexstrasza there as 2J's looking for Ektar again. A lot of damage going out on Radic. He's able to Wraithwalk away. Crushing Jaw's barely not able to get high def. Who has to back away before he gets bursted down? Now Gunny taking a lot of damage from that lightning breath. However, he himself backs up as even though all the ults popped on the Plugwalk, they are able to come away with zoning out Lurk Patrol, doing a lot of damage there, forcing them to back up as Plugwalk is going to get dangerously close to finishing off this Punisher.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, that was huge for Plugwalk. That was the exact engage they needed. They found another kill, and even though they're now down 20, with the fact that they got a kill and they beat up all the other members of Lurk Patrol, they now get this push. They can, with the Punisher, they will certainly get this fort, and they may be able to get some damage on keep wall. Lurk Patrol is just trying to cut their losses. They're going to get some pressure in the bot lane by, the mid lane by taking this camp, but bot lane is the real important pressure. There's 3 catapults on core. Criticala is going to have to clear them, while the rest of the team sieges down bot lane, but that means that with only 4 members, and with Johanna backing from the side of Lurk Patrol, I don't even know if they get keep wall. The Punisher's high enough that they probably will, but maybe not much more.
Exactly, as the siege starting, a lot of damage going on to Radic from this Punisher. A big crushing Jaws, only able to get Radic, however, as they're forced to back up a little bit here, as you noted, without Sonya. Pharaoh's actually going in here onto Radic there, not able to do enough damage, and the solo Twilight Dream onto Pharaoh's. Able to make a disengage, however, lost low, and a huge attune by Radic with the upgrade, able to get 1. Looking for 2Js. Also, as that's a 4-man kill there on the side of Lurk Patrol if they're able to finish off this Orphea. Gust even being used for good measure.
Wow, and that was a fantastic entomb, and that is why Buried Alive is so good. When you have that silence, and it makes that Hanzo can escape usually with this leap, but all of a sudden you're stuck there. You cannot get out, and Diablo was able to use his souls to revive, but he's much weaker. If Lurk Patrol finds 1 pick, this game is over, and even if they don't, they should get some core damage and potentially the game. Plugwalk can probably make a defense, but it is not going to be an easy one by any means.
Still 36 left on the Orphea as Lurk Patrol looking for the siege on this core here. A lot of them healthy and only the 2 main tanks available for the side of Plugwalk as the leap goes in with the upgrade. A lot of damage going out onto Bickle there, especially with the lightning breath. However, the Ring of Frost able to get the kill onto the 2 main tanks, not before Falstead goes down there. And Bickle and Radic very low there. Gunny looking to see if they can finish off Diesel as the Bickle does the damage on the core. However, they too go down. Now it's just Ektar and Gunny trying to see if they can finish off this core here, along with the catapult that they have with them, and it will just be enough there as game number 2 goes over to Lurk Patrol.
And that was the exciting game we wanted to see here. That was so close. It was such a nice attempt at a defense by Plugwalk, but just not enough. And Lurk Patrol will even up the series at 1 game apiece, kills 14-11 in favor of Lurk Patrol. Pharaoh's died 6 times on that Diablo, which has gotta hurt. I think he had souls for at least 2, I think 3 of those deaths, but still. Wow, and part of the difference, look at the healing numbers. Malfurion, almost 70,000 healed damage, and Alexstrasza not far behind with about 69,000 herself. But compared to last game, when the healing from Plugwalk was so much higher than Lurk Patrol, that's huge. And when you look at the kill numbers, going from 0 kills from Lurk Patrol to 14, that was what made the difference. Like I was saying in the last game, when you saw that no kills were secured by Lurk Patrol, that was like, you do not win a game with 0 kills. Like, it just doesn't happen. But when you get those 14 kills, when you actually finish off the members of the other team, the target selection so much better. The focus was on point, and that was what allowed them to take that game and send us to a deciding game 3.
Yeah, but after these first 2 games, whichever team has picked the map has gone on to win. And with that, Plugwalk will pick map pick and choose to go to Volskaya here for game number 3.
Ooh, Volskaya Foundry, very exciting. This one is for it all, and Volskaya, really, if I am Lurk Patrol, I don't feel too bad about Volskaya, because on that first one, Sky Temple, they tried to play it as more of a, we're gonna out-rotate you, out-soak you comp, and it did not work for them. But in that second game on Infernal, they just played a team fighting comp, and they said, we're just gonna get in your face and we're gonna beat you. And it worked. So here, and actually with that point, you have to go to the point to get the Punisher, not the Punisher, the Protector. And I think this is really a little in favor of Lurk Patrol from what we've seen in the first 2 games. But of course, that last game was so close that if Plugwalk feels comfortable on this map, then it could go either way. I'm really excited to see what happens here. And I will pull up some stats for you. We've got Lurk Patrol, according to Heroes Profile, our handy stat site. Volskaya Foundry for Lurk Patrol, 1 game played and they won it. For Plugwalk, 2 games played on Volskaya and they won 1 out of the 2. So it will be interesting to see. Which side is able to take this one here. Neither team has played a lot of games on Volskaya, but Plugwalk clearly feels like this is a better map for them as they have picked it. It looks like their most played maps, Plugwalk, are Infernal Shrines, Alterac, and Volskaya, with 5 games on Infernal, 3 games on Alterac, and 2 games on Volskaya. Also 2 games on Tomb of the Spider Queen, 1 game on Battlefield of Eternity coming into today. So Infernal Shrines, they've already played, and they were not able to pick up the win on that one. Alterac Pass being banned out by Lurk Patrol. So they said, we're going to go to Volskaya Foundry. And here we are in game number 3. And I'm just really excited for this one. After that last one, I think we're in for some really good action here in the 3rd game.
Yeah, exactly. Again, another point control map coming up here. It should be interesting to see. I predict the bans are probably going to be the same on both sides there. However, it should be interesting to see if any of the comps change up. Especially, I'm interested to see what tanks we go with on the side of Plugwalk. I believe that Diablo was doing a ton of just kind of control as well as damage with those lightning breaths. As we wait a little bit for this second lobby there. So it should be interesting to see if maybe we see a ban for that Diablo.
Yeah, the Diablo was so strong finding those initiations, but it's interesting. We see we've seen these bans really not a whole lot of priority put on the tanks in terms of bans. We saw the Anubarak ban in game 2, but I believe that's the only tank we've seen in any of the. So, thing to see if they do decide to ban that Diablo. Does Plugwalk go back to the ETC? Do they go to the garage?
Targets out,
Looking
everyone hitting
at
the
their profile, they've played 3 games of Diablo coming into today, 2 games of garage, 3 games of ETC. They've also played 3 games of Arthas, 4 games of Anubarak, and 6 games of Blaze, although I believe they're playing him as a solo laner. But those type of heroes that you can see come out, there's a lot of flexibility that even if you ban 1 or 2 of those main tanks, there's still quite a few very good main tanks at this point in the game. And you saw that the ETC worked so well in tandem with the Orphea in that first game. I'd be interested to see if they think about pulling that one back out here.
Yeah, and it should be interesting to see if maybe Garrosh gets introduced to this match. He's a pretty strong main tank in the meta, but he hasn't even gotten picked or banned so far in this match. So interesting to see if either team prioritizes him. However, Lurk Patrol has been going for that Anubarak all 2 games so far. So I'm guessing that they probably pick him up in game number 3. However, Plugwalk has had a variety of main tanks, so maybe they do go for that Garrosh if they elect to do so.
Yeah, what was really interesting was that after electing to pick Anub'arak in the first game, they elected to ban him in the second game. And that might be because they didn't have first pick and they feared that Plugwalk would first pick the Anub'arak. But it'd be interesting to see if now that they have first pick again, they first pick it here, or if they let it go and hope that it gets through to the 2-3 slot. And also be interesting to see what roles each player plays. I would like to see them stick fairly similar to what they did in game 2 because that worked so well for them. I'm wondering if they only switched it up because they have one dedicated Abathur player that made them have to scramble the team a little bit, or if they just are all very flexible players. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see here going into game number 3. I'm excited to see what's in store for us.
Exactly, as we head into the first pick of Volskaya on the side of Lurk Patrol here. I expect to see probably, I believe they've been banning out Kael'thas so far, so probably seeing the same ban there. Also, we see the Asthma ban on the side,
Yep,
of
there's the Kael'thas.
Plugwalk, as those 2 teams seem very scared of it so far in this match.
Yep, we've got Kael'thas for Plugwalk coming into this game. They've played him 6 times, and they've had him banned against him 5 times. So, and they only have 13 games on record. So in 11 out of 13 games, Kael'thas has been present in their draft. So the Anub'arak ban, again from Lurk Patrol, is interesting. First picking the Ana because the Malfurion gets banned out. That's very interesting to me that they choose to swap their ban to Malfurion instead of Ana, because that just gives Ana right over to Lurk Patrol, and Ana is so strong right now. I know they've been loving the Malfurion, but they've also been picking up Malfurion right at the end in the after the second wave of bans. You probably could have waited on the ban until then if you wanted to, if you're Plugwalk.
Yeah, it makes me think maybe they were planning on drafting a more dive-oriented comp in order to punish an expected Ana ban, but instead they go for an ETC Jaina, which is kind of more of a frontline burst-heavy one. ETC kind of struggles to get onto the Ana unless he takes stage dive, but as we've seen in the past, Ferris prefers to go Mosh Pit if he's able to pick it up without enough interrupts on the side of Lurk Patrol.
So the Sonya Johanna here, they played Johanna last game and it worked out very well for them. I assume that they just enjoy that hero, and that's fine. Johanna's quite good. The Sonya, though, from High Def, I don't know. Do they play the Sonya? They have 4 games on record with Sonya on Heroes Profile with 0 wins. I assume they're picking that just to steal it away from Plugwalk, as Plugwalk has been loving the Sonya, but if you're not comfortable on it, I don't know how I feel about that pick, but clearly they have enough confidence in it to pick it here. Be interesting to see how that goes for them.
Yeah, as Lee being banned out in order to provide a potential nano boost target. However, it should be interesting to see if Ektar does go nano boost or with the Ive Horse now that it is unbanned in Nexus Gaming Series, which would not make it to where you have to draft a nano assassin with your Ana. As we see on the side of Plugwalk here with their next 2 picks after the Stukov banned by Lurk Patrol, banning out that Stukov yet again. They really need to get their healer here likely with the Brightwing again and the Blaze as the offlaner.
Okay, that makes sense. They do like to pick Blaze. That's one of their preferred solo laners, Blaze and Sonya. Blaze being picked 6 times by Plugwalk. Sonya actually only being picked once by them before today. It's kind of interesting. But Blaze still quite good hero, and really, he's almost as tanky as ETC at this point, if not more. So that'll help beef up the front line with ETC being less beefy compared to your average tank. Rainer Falstad coming out here from the side of Lurk Patrol.
Yeah, it shows Lurk Patrol's plan of action likely is just going to be to try to make a presence with Johanna Sonya on the point and then just poke down the front line of Plugwalk. ETC is one of the weaker frontliners health-wise, so they're just going to be trying to get some poke down onto him and Blaze in order just to force them off, especially if Ana Heals being able to provide a lot of healing, as Cassia being the last pick here for Plugwalk.
Now that's really interesting to me. I know Cassia can function with no other blinders on the team, but you really would appreciate that there are. I mean, I assume that this is pick is partially to prey on that Rainer, because if you can blind him and beat him up, he is just almost worthless. But it is interesting to see that they picked the Cassia without opting into anything like the Lili or trying to steal the Johanna. But we'll see if it works out for him. Cassia is really, I mean, she's in a pretty nice place right now. She's not overwhelmingly dominant in the meta, but she is certainly worth playing in certain situations. She has a nice niche for herself. So we'll have to see how it works for them. And one thing I'm interested in is whether you would consider doing the main tank Blaze off lane ETC. I do not believe that they will, but it is a real strategy you could consider running. We'll have to see.
As we get into the deciding game number 3 on the Blues side for Lurk Patrol, we will have Ektar on that Ana, Radic on the Falstad, Bickel on the Rainer, Gunny on the Johanna, and Hidef on the Sonya.
Yep, and for the red side, Plugwalk trying to come back as they almost did in that second game. We've got Plugwalk, we have got Pharos on ETC, 2Jace on Jaina, Diesel on Cassia, Criticalo on Blaze, and Kagura on Brightwing. Here we go, game 3, Volskaya. This is for all the marbles.
Again, the 5-man coming into this bot lane. Diesel trying to see if he can catch someone out here. Pharos really stepping up aggressively here, and Gunny's going to respawn. Just putting a little bit of damage down. Not fearing too much with Ektar being able to snipe those heals from the back line. So both teams just kind of feeling each other out, and Gunny going in for the quick clear on the side of Lurk Patrol.
Yep, now we see Sonya Blaze both rotating down to the bot lane to take their position. We'll see, it looks like a standard 4-1 split at the moment, which is not too surprising on this map. Both teams are in danger of losing some minions in the top lane. 2 minions killed from each side before anyone can get there. Believe that Plugwalk got there in time for the third one, not sure about Lurk Patrol.
Yeah, Gunny being the target of a lot of damage here, forcing Ektar to focus all of his heals onto him. But now, both teams just trying to finish and get those clear, as you said. Lurk Patrol kind of lacking a little bit the last time now, especially because they don't have the Jaina to complement the Johanna this time.
Yep, Jaina being stolen away by Plugwalk was a good decision. That, as we talked about, that Jaina Johanna is such a good wave clear combination, and Jaina really as a whole is a very strong and versatile hero, so it makes sense to try to grab her early in the draft because she's very impactful, especially since you saw the other side play it in the previous game. So now they've got Jim Raynor hanging out in the top lane, with the rest of the 3 hanging out in the mid lane, while Plugwalk is rotating his 4, looking to catch out the Raynor here.
Damage going on to Bickel there. Diesel trying to do his best, but the combination with the slide for Pharos not going to be enough, as Bickel was retreating before the team members of Plugwalk able to get there in time. So now they turn their focus back onto the wave now, as Lurk Patrol takes their turret in the bottom.
Yep, we have Radic and Ektar over there taking that. Gunny stepping up to try to stall the rotate a little bit, just be an annoyance. Bickel still hanging out in the top lane. Not much of too much interest going on in the bot lane. Criticalo and Hidef just, you know, having fun, hanging out, poking at each other, clearing some waves.
Exactly. You see,
Interestingly,
Gunny actually checked.
their own camp.
Yeah, Gunny checked out the turret camp, seeing none. They now know that they are at their siege camp, as they decide to hold that for a little bit here before the objective starts, and now start to rotate down to the fortification camp. However, that allows for Lurk Patrol to be looking for potentially another turret during this control point phase.
Yeah, that's really interesting that they chose to go take their siege camp first and then their turret camp. They will get the turret camp in time to get on the point. The siege camp now being picked up by Lurk Patrol, but as you said, the fortification camp timers now from Lurk Patrol, it's a minute and a half, or from Plugwalk, it's full 2:15, which means that that second turret will be available much faster for Lurk Patrol than it will be for Plugwalk, and it's potential that they could go take it before the first point is over, depending on the circumstance, whereas Plugwalk would have a much harder time doubling up on turrets before the first protector is taken.
Yeah, as Lurk Patrol electing to try to clear out this top lane first, but now ETC Jaina rotating up trying to see if they can catch out Bickle or Ektar. Pharaoh's trying to do his best to whack at Ektar as Jace is going deep for this Ana here. However, Bickle able to do enough damage, and Radic going for the hammer, but not able to do enough damage before Kugger is able to rotate in and TP in. Now the attention turns on to Pharaohs, but not able to do enough damage as everyone is able to get out of here and survive. Meanwhile, down at the point, Plugwalk was able to force off Lurk Patrol enough in order to at least get stop the progress on their side, but not enough to turn it onto themselves, as now the attention turns onto Hidef here, who gets absolutely deleted there, as now they look for Gunny, who is on the wrong side of the map here on this rotation. Diesel looking to see if he can finish off the kill here. Now Criticalo rotating in behind, gets the slow, but the Unstoppable able to be popped inside with the Iron Skin, and that allows for Gunny to live.
Yeah, very nice escape by Gunny to make it back behind the walls. Johanna has a lot of survivability, and Gunny had to use all of it to get out of that situation, but will live.
Yeah, Bickle tried a little bit too much, stayed too long in order to try to contest and burn down the turret that was on point, and that leads to him being killed. And now it's going to be very hard for Lurk Patrol to try to take back this control point.
Yeah, they will be able to pick up a second turret. As we were talking about, that cooldown is much shorter than the cooldown on the side of Plugwalk, but really what was interesting there, what made the difference was when Ana and Reyna were in the top lane, they couldn't find the pick. Oh, hold on, Gunny going very far in.
Yeah, Gunny seeing if they can at least try to interrupt, able to get a lot of damage onto Pharaohs, but not able to finish him off in time. As now it looks like Plugwalk just going to retreat and potentially tap here before forcing a second engage, with the turret being dropped on the side of Lurk Patrol.
Yeah, but when you saw in the top lane the engage where they could not find the kill and Falstad rotated up, it meant they lost the point, and they have not been able to take it back since then.
Diesel and Pharaohs went hard, and they were able to burn down the Rainer and the Sonya as well, as that will force out Lurk Patrol from the point and get the first protector on the side of Plugwalk.
Yep, and so, yep, they were never able to recover that point after they lost it. It would be interesting to see, had they left Radic on that Falstad in the mid lane instead of sending him up to try to secure the kill that they didn't get, whether they would have been able to maintain that point control and perhaps take the protector. But no time for what ifs. Right now they just need to make a defense. The whole front wall going down in the mid lane, and now the protector rotating top to try to take down that healing fountain. They can have that advantage for the second point in the top lane.
Yeah, as we see a nice sleep dart on a Brightwing there, but this protector has a lot of health left over, as is able to get the mid gate as well as the top gate, and now the well as well on the side of Plugwalk, but a lot of damage going on to Pharaohs and Jay. Gunny and Radic looking a little low there, but the Punisher is not able to really finish them off. Or excuse me, the protector is able to finish them off.
If the protector had had a little more health, they might have actually gone down there. It was the slight overextension, but they didn't do it until the protector was already fairly low, so they will manage to live through that. But now 10 being picked up for Plugwalk with quite a bit of time, a whole level left for Lurk Patrol before they get it. We do see Mosh Pit, Ring of Frost, Ball Lightning, Combustion, and Emerald Wind. Combustion, I think, is the most interesting pick here. I definitely would have expected a bunker.
Yeah, as we see a Ring of Frost popping, not able to get any. Combustion is, though, able to catch out Hidef there, who does get eliminated. But now the attention is looking onto Criticalo, taking a lot of tower shots there, as the minion wave is dying there. So they're going to be, the fort is going to turn the attention onto Diesel there, taking a lot of damage, trying to get the kill onto Bickle, but the fort will go down, so that will allow for Plugwalk to retreat without Lurk Patrol getting a kill of their own.
They might be able to take support here. Looks like they will. They do still have the 10 advantage, and Sonya only just now respawning. Hidef having to come back and having no energy. So the support will go over to Plugwalk, being picked up by Pharaohs. No? Being picked up by Diesel on the Cassia. And that's why you take Combustion for that last fight, because that damage was what allowed them to actually finish the kill on Sonya. And I suppose it makes sense against this team comp. There's nothing in particular you need to bunker through. It does give you more general survivability, but you don't necessarily need it. There's no like Phoenix ult to use the bunker to avoid. We do see Eye of Horus coming out for Ana. There's no necessarily huge Eye of or Nano Boost target. See Blessed Shield, Leap, Mighty Gust, and Hyperion coming out, all fairly standard. But yeah, that's why you take Combustion if you think you need that damage in the team fights more than you need that extra survivability. You think with, which is kind of interesting with the Brightwing. Brightwing is more of a sustained healer, doesn't have a whole lot of burst, especially taking that Emerald Wind. The only burst she really has being the phase shift. They choose not to take the bunker, but take the Combustion. We'll see if it works out for him. It looks pretty good so far. There's a lot of game left to go.
As we see Gunny being forced to pop that Iron Skin a little early there with a lot of CC and damage being put on. However, the Ring of Frost will not land. Eye of Horus being popped in order to make sure that Gunny stays alive there. So we will see a trade of, looks like Blessed Shield was also popped there. So a little bit of an ult advantage here for Plugwalk upcoming.
Yep, they do 2 ults for 1 currently. Jaina the only one without an ult, and Jaina is not here in the top lane. It's a 5v4 ult disadvantage for Lurk Patrol, but the numbers advantage means that they have the ability to force Plugwalk to just back up. With 13 right around the corner for Plugwalk, if they can get that before this control point, that would be huge. That's probably why they had Jaina in the mid lane to A, force that minion wave pressure, but also B, get them right to that 13. Because now it's a hard sell to engage if you're Lurk Patrol down 13, and with both a turret and an emitter being held by Plugwalk, while Lurk Patrol only has the 1 turret.
Yeah, now that they see Falsta in the bot lane, they're going aggressive onto Gunny yet again, being the target of focus here. As he goes low, after popping Iron Skin, is forced to retreat backwards. Eye of Horus going to see if they can keep him alive, as the attention also goes onto High Def there, but he also is able to survive. Gunny now having pretty healthy after that Eye of Horus being popped. And instead, it looks like Pharaohs is the one who's very low, as we see the Gust being used, and they are able to eliminate Pharaohs. Ana being caught there by the Ring of Frost, and will not go down, though, to the Blizzard. Diesel able to go in and catch out Falstead there, and now we see Bickle is a little bit isolated, but will be able to back up with his high health bar. So a 1-for-1 trade, surprisingly, for this fight between Lurk Patrol and Plugwalk.
Yeah, it was a really nice job by Lurk Patrol to find that first kill onto the ETC. It looked really bad for them early on, but then losing that Falstad really hurts. It went from a clean fight win of a 1-for-0 to all of a sudden a 1-for-1 trade. They didn't have 13 until just now, so that gave a vote of advantage to Plugwalk, who also finishes off Johanna, and that's a huge win for Plugwalk because they now have full control of this point.
Yeah, Iron Skin being popped just to clear the turret allowed for Plugwalk just to turn the focus onto Gunny once it expired. Diesel actually looking for more onto Radic, but who was able to just barrel roll away there. But yeah, I have to think that with the hard target going down onto the Johanna, you have to be a little bit more careful when you pop your Iron Skin in order to try to make sure you survive some of these fights. So even though Johanna has a gigantic health pool, she's been getting bursted down pretty quickly in these team fights.
Yep, that's what Plugwalk has been doing a really good job of, especially in that first game. They still did a fairly decent job of it the second game, but they've been doing a good job of it again here, is focusing that target. If you can find somebody, you can burst down anyone if you do it right. There's a huge fight coming out with the Protector down.
Yeah, Pharaohs being the focus of High Def there, but the counter damage by 2J is enough, as it looks like I4 is barely going to get up in time in order to save Beckel and High Def, but not before Johanna goes down, as she was caught right next to the Protector, who was able to focus her down yet again.
Well, great job by Ana, and the Eye of Horus cooldown coming in clutch to make sure High Def and Bickle both lived. I thought for sure at least one of them was going down, but managing to save both. Great job by Ektar, but could not save the Johanna, and so now a 2-level lead, a Protector sieging down Keith, and a man advantage for another couple seconds. Johanna back up, but will have to travel to the fight. Means this is going great for Plugwalk. It's all starting to turn in their favor. This is a very even game to start. They were maybe had a slight lead, but now they're starting to roll it into a very noticeable lead.
And now that Gunny has respawned, they're looking to see if they can burst down this Protector before it's able to get the Keef now, forcing for Plugwalk to be retreating here a little bit. Instead, turn on to High Def with the root there, trying to get a lot of damage there, but not able to quite finish off High Def. As the retreat yet again going for Plugwalk there. With 8 seconds left on their protector, it is going to go down just about now. However, 16 advantage is about to be picked up by Plugwalk, so maybe they can look for another re-engage.
Yeah, with the 16 advantage coming in, and every lane, bot lane is about even, but the top and mid lanes are both very pushed out for Plugwalk. Got it behind the behind Lurk Patrol's forts, or at least where the forts used to be. It forces Lurk Patrol to try to respond. It puts Plugwalk in the driver's seat. It looks like they're just gonna go ahead and steal the turret here. They have every ability to do so with that 16 advantage, and so now that's the only item being held by any player in the game, I believe. Nope, High Def, sorry, still holding on to a turret. So now it is one turret to one turret, but Plugwalk rotating up, looking to find that support, and then maybe take their own turret would make that a 3-to-1 item lead if they can find it.
However, because they're split here in between the turret and the support camp, Lurk Patrol is going to be able to just be scouting out this turret camp and look for a potential engage if they don't see enough members here, as they do just start to siege down this bot fort gate.
Yeah, it's a little scary though. You have to be cautious, because if you get engaged upon under towers with down that 16 advantage, it's gonna be super dangerous for Lurk Patrol.
Yeah, here comes Plugwalk there. Pharaoh's looking to see if he can get anything with the slide. The attention goes on to High Def there, as just not able to get Ring of Frost, but the root anyway goes out by Jaina, as Pharaohs goes in looking for the dance, is able to find it there onto Radic, but the damage just not enough there to finish off both Radic and Bickle there. Although a lot of items were used on the side of Plugwalk, they were eventually able to get High Def on the Sonya.
Yep, so 2 turrets still being held on the side of Plugwalk. Sonya unable to use her turret before she went down, and that was then stolen and used by Plugwalk. They used their emitter, but they were able to keep the 2 turrets they would have had otherwise, only using the one that they stole from Sonya. So now both teams on 16, but the item advantage and the very clear structure advantage going to Plugwalk, although now looks like Lurk Patrol is going to go ahead and take this bot fort, as they know that the members of Plugwalk are up in the top lane, which will help even out the structure pressure a little bit, especially with that next protector coming in the bot lane. The bot fountain still up for Lurk Patrol, and the entire bot fort down for Plugwalk. This is going to be Lurk Patrol's best shot at a fight right now, is once that next protector comes up. But High Def has to be careful. He might be caught out here.
Yeah, Plugwalk. Pharaoh's able to get the slide onto Plugwalk there as he gets body blocked. However, we do see that the Johanna with Gunny there able to put some pressure in order to try to peel for High Def there. And that does force Plugwalk to have to back out there, so that Lurk Patrol is able to get their camp. However, Plugwalk looking to see if they can maybe get another re-engage.
Okay, very interesting. If I am Lurk Patrol here, well, I guess I would like to be running at that point, but you do sort of have to stay around and clear this wave before you can rotate down. Otherwise, that's going to get a lot of pressure on your keeps. They leave Falstad here. Makes sense. He's the one with the best mobility. He can fly across the map, and they send Ana to go stand on the point while the other 3 members finish off this turret camp. They need to be careful, though. They're getting invaded upon here.
Yeah, Pharaohs gets the slide there onto Bickle, as we see Johanna being forced to take a lot of punishment just to stand on the point. High Def does leap onto it, but does get stunned in return in order to try to stall the point, as the damage does go out onto Gunny and is able to finish them off there, as now the attention does go onto Raynor, and so that is a 3-4-0 fight win for Plugwalk, pretty much allowing for them to now turn their attention onto Ektar, who was just taking that point on the meantime, trying to back before the members of Plugwalk are able to get in there. Giving them at least 60 or 69% on the point. However, it will be a long wait before they will be able to re-engage while Plugwalk is able to tick up this point.
Yep, while it was well done by Ana to sneak all of that percent back up, it was a shame that she was not around, and then that was what allowed Plugwalk to do that invade. They knew at least one member was on the point, probably Ana, and they knew Falstad was still clearing in the top lane, so they knew that at most there would be 3 people they'd be engaging upon. They could take that 5v3. Eye of Horus came out, could not provide enough healing to save all the members, so Plugwalk able to successfully take the 3-for-0 and steal the turret. They did end up using it in the fight, so they will still have a 3 turret advantage after picking up their own recently, but still, that's huge. And a three turrets to one emitter does give them an item lead.
Yeah, Gunny now looking for the engage. All the turrets dropped on the side of Plugwalk, but Falstead does actually go down there to Blaze. Now Credit Kahlo looking to get more. Gunny does pop the Blessed Shield there as the Protector is able to be picked up by Plugwalk there. So they're just going to back up and take this now and look to be sieging down this bot 4 potentially. No, they're actually going to walk up.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go siege a keep. Makes sense. You have a 20 advantage and a man advantage for 30 more seconds. You might as well push on the keep, and the wall here already fairly low. I don't think they'll go all the way up to mid. That's too far, even though the mid keep is the lowest one, but they could prove me wrong. We'll see what happens.
As that Protector does continue to rotate up to top, threatening kind of to go either mid or top, but does decide to go on to top here. And with 5 seconds left until Falstead gets back, it's going to be a little scary here for Lurk Patrol.
ETC sliding in. I thought he might look for a mosh. He still could. Looks like he'll just back up, but if he can find a mosh here, it is not on cooldown. It is available. If he finds a big mosh, they could do some serious damage and perhaps even win the game.
Yeah, High Def looking in there. However, the Ring of Frost does catch 2 on the side of Plugwalk there, able to burn down the Rainer and Falstead that were cut out there, and then finish up Johanna and Falstead as well. And now it's just the Ana to defend against this Protector and the rest of the members of Plugwalk. So I believe that will be Plugwalk being able to turn the focus onto Core and be able to take this game number 3 and the series against Lurk Patrol.
Yeah, who needs a mosh pit when you have a Ring of Frost? A very nice ring by Jaina turns the tide of the game, makes it so that instead of having to back off after the keep, they can go all the way to the core, take it, and win the game. Final kill score for that last game will be Plugwalk 17, Lurk Patrol 2. Ana, the only member of Lurk Patrol who did not die. Ektar putting out 98,000 healing, but still unable to save his team from their 17 deaths.
Yeah, I think one of the key members of that last match there by Plugwalk was Credit Kahlo. He was able to late game get a lot of stuns onto the back line of Lurk Patrol, while Pharaohs on that ETC was kind of controlling out and doing a lot of damage along with the Jaina to the Johanna there with Gunny. So kind of that split focus put both like sides of Lurk Patrol low, and were allowed for them to get some picks early in fights and eventually turn that into some 3- and 4-man kills.
Yep, very, very well played by Plugwalk. A very strong game 1. They looked a little weaker game 2, but they kept it close, almost managing to come back. And then game 3 looking very strong and finishing it out. So they take the 2-1 series victory here over Lurk Patrol. And hopefully we'll get to talk to one of their players to hear what they have to say about our last match.
Exactly. Now, as we do look for that interview, I think that was a really good 3-game series that had a little bit of everything there. The Abathur didn't quite work there for Lurk Patrol in game number 1, but they were able to have a strong game number 2 on the Punisher, getting some strong objective kind of control, but then it was the point control that went onto the side of Plugwalk, and that allowed for them to win game number 3. So it was kind of a area control battle between these 3 maps.
Yep. And so it was very interesting to see that, like, based on in game 1, was a more macro heavy soak type of map, but the Abathur got out soaked by the other team. And then when they switched to more of a team fighting style for games 2 and 3, it looked like at first Plugwalk just wasn't quite ready for it, but then they started to adapt and they brought it back. They weren't quite able to take game number 2, but they were very strong in that 3rd game, just getting all up in Lurk Patrol's face and taking the game. So, whew. That was everything we could have hoped for, especially that game 2. The series had it all.
Yeah, as it looks like we will have Pharaohs here for the interview here in just a second. In order to kind of pick his brain and see kind of how the strategy might have transitioned in between games 1, 2, and 3, as they were very different games in between the three.
Yeah, they really were. And if we look at the stats, very very balanced between Falstad and Raynor in that last game in terms of hero damage. Falstad having about 50k, Raynor about 40k. But Cassia really took over with 82,000 hero damage in that last game.
Yeah, as now we're going to go into our interview with him in order to see kind of his insights real quick. Hey, Pharaohs, congrats on the win there with a very intense 3-game set.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
So, in game number 1, you guys ended up going up against the Abathur. What was your mindset after you saw that picked on the side of Lurk Patrol?
We were just mainly trying to focus on playing the objective, and we figured if we could win the team fights, play the map, we wouldn't really have a problem trying to like keep up with Abathur doing his like Abathur thing around the map. So that was just mainly the focus, just play the map.
Yeah, you guys had a good control of the macro there. Meanwhile, in games 2 and 3, attention kind of turned more into kind of a team fight area control. Maybe what do you think went wrong in game number 2 in terms of the team fights?
Well, we definitely got sloppy on some of the engages. We were just, I don't know, came out too aggressive, trying to make too many plays, and they were just like punishing us for it every time. Like I would charge in, and then that was like pretty much it. I'd get rooted, Malfurion would root me, and then Leo would like separate us with the tomb, and it was just, yeah, it was madness. It was kind of bad. We just played not our best that game.
And then in game number 3, you guys had a very strong game, and I noticed a lot of attention being put onto the Johanna in team fights. Why were you maybe kind of focusing Johanna versus other members, at least early on in that match?
Well, we figured, I mean, we weren't going to try to put the backline in a position to where they could get caught, since, I mean, they were just kind of like waiting for us to press in. It seemed like most of the time. So we were just like, all right, well, if Joe's going to like sit in our face, let's just like try to burn her down. And if she's going to get low enough, I mean, we can get a kill, or they can like start to retreat, and then we can catch someone like out of position as they're backing.
Sounds great. Shax, Taxman, do you have any questions of your own?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about. See, in the first game, you ran the ETC Orphea, and you ran that the mosh pit with the Eternal Feast. And I saw a couple times you hit it, and you just destroyed them. It ran rampant over the team if you could catch somebody in it. And then in game 3, you went back to the ETC, but you picked up the Jaina alongside it. And so I was interested to see that you didn't try to go back to that Orphea, because it seemed like the Orphea was working quite well in games 1 and 2. Is that you just think Jaina is a better hero, or you wanted to steal Jaina from them? Can you talk me through why you went with the Jaina after the Orphea had been working so well?
We were definitely, we knew they were going to play Jogan, and I feel like she's kind of a nuisance, but I mean, with Jaina, she can also root and CC some of the backline. So we were just like thinking, okay, cool. Well, I'm pretty sure they're going to go Joe, so that's going to be a problem. And Mosh can easily be interrupted. So worst case scenario, they're stunned for a bit, like a second, and then the ring comes down, and then they get CC'd, and at least they're rooted, and we can get some damage off. But we never hit the combo that game. But 2J's did have that good ring at the end there. He got like 3 people in it to kind of secure the game. So props to him. But yeah,
That was a really nice ring right there at the end.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, also too, we were definitely trying to steal the pick from them because we figured they were going to go back to that, or at least try to. So that was the other thing as well.
That makes sense. And in the last game, we saw that they took that Sonya from you, and you ended up going Blaze. But the Blaze looked very nice. Do you think that? I don't know. I didn't think it worked out for them as well as they had hoped. What does your team comp kind of revolve around in that solo lane? Do you like the Sonya, the Blaze? Like, how much do you like them? Because it doesn't look like from what I was seeing in the stats that you play a whole lot of Sonya.
Yeah, I mean, we've been working on that. There's like a little like combo that we've been working with Sonya with the leap, and it like sets up the mosh really well. It sets up the Orphea, the whole drop down thing pretty well. So we were just like gonna try it out and see how it worked, and I mean it ended up working game one. But game two, like I said, we should have probably not taken Diablo. Should have went someone a little more safe and not like super dive, but it's all right. But yeah, I mean, Crit does a good job. He can Blaze, like we were playing Blaze a lot the early weeks of the season, so I mean, just comfortable with Crit's pretty comfortable with either solo lane hero.
Okay. And with this win, you will move into sole possession of the 5th place in Division C West. And who do you think you're most afraid of, either in the playoffs or in the last few weeks of the season?
Well, I'm not trying to sound like super cocky or hype us up, but I mean the team that we have now, this five is like we've been playing for like 2 weeks consistently. We've had multiple people like drop out, and I mean we've been feeling pretty good, been playing pretty well, so we're actually looking forward to maybe getting some revenge in the playoffs against some of these teams that smacked us early on. So yeah, we're hungry, man. We're just trying to get some wins and hopefully take it all home.
Nice. Always good to hear. Like the confidence. I'm not going to tell you that it's cocky. I think it's good confidence. It's always good to feel confident going into the playoffs. Got any secret strategies going into the playoffs? You don't have to reveal them if you don't want people to know them on stream, but you have something in your back pocket that you're going to surprise people with?
Yeah, we got a couple things that a couple of us have been working on, but we're just kind of waiting since I mean it's going to be what like another 2 weeks, 3 weeks before that happens. So yeah, we're sitting on a couple things and a couple maps too that we're just kind of sitting on, just waiting to see how the playoffs go. Right now, I mean, I feel like everyone's playing Infernal Shrine, so we're just like, all right, cool. Like we're just gonna not pick that and then try to go to some other maps too. Maybe throw some other teams off with like some maps they're not really too comfortable playing on. So, but yeah, we got a couple little secrets we're working on.
Nice. Good to hear. I've got nothing else, so I'll throw it back to you, Dead, if you've got anything left for him, or if you just want to give him the floor.
Yeah, I think I'm good. So any shoutouts there, Pharos, with your team's victory today?
Shout out to Swag if you were tuning in. Thanks, bro. Always appreciate the support. That's about it. We're coming. Division C, look out.
Thanks so much for joining us here for the interview, and good luck to you guys as you go in the final stretch before the playoffs and into the playoffs.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. All right. Well, we thank Pharos, we thank his whole team, Plugwalk, and Lurk Patrol for giving us 3 exciting games today. It was very fun to watch, and we thank you, the viewers, for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. There will be 2 more casts this week. I'm still working out my schedule, but definitely watch out for that as we do go into the final 2 weeks before the NGS playoffs, and make sure to catch some of the later NGS action today as well as the Meat Hall in order to see some of the details of these upcoming playoffs later today.
Yep, it'll be exciting. Hope to see all of you there for some more Good Hots action and important updates from the NGS team.
If that is it from you, Jax Taxman, that is it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll hope to see you guys later.